So I have generated 200 images, and now I want to sort them in order and pick the good ones. Now, how do I? In the Explorer, this will not work. Hello my friends, and welcome to the sorting images dilemma and a solution to it. As you might know, I make AI videos, and creating these videos usually starts with massive amount of data. I write my storyboard in text form, the takes, the prompts for the takes, and since not every result generated by this AI solution is convincing, I usually have to generate several images for a take, then pick the good ones, bring it all into a fitting order, and then I can render out my videos starting from these images here. I can of course delete the not fitting images here in the Windows Explorer already. This image here, for example, is useless. I need to remove it. But then they are really physically gone, so no way back. And the main task is still not done. I still need to bring it all into an order, since the best images might have been rendered in a later session. There are tools to do that, but I was unhappy with the available solutions. Either I used an image viewer to sort the images, which was always a pain, or I used a full-fledged storyboard software where all the other features were simply in the way, and the image sorting not necessarily any better. This is where my new Storyboard Imagesorter comes in. It is a quick tool to sort images. The quick and dirty method is you drop all these images in here, and then you can drag the images around where you want them to be. And once done, you export it as an image sequence. And yeah, there was it. Now it is in RAW. Let's have a closer look at the details. We can import several image file formats. For now it is PNG, JPEG, BMP, GIF and WebP. The summary text file is yet another import format, and we will come to that later. My favorite method is, as you have seen, simply select them in the Explorer and drag them here into the surface. You can drag and drop images from several source folders. The select behavior is not different from the behavior in the File Explorer. Shift-click to select a row. With Control you can add further images. If you want to quickly check the pacing or the vibe of your sequence without actually editing anything, just hit spacebar. The selected image will then open in a lightbox, and you can go forward and backward with using the arrow buttons or here at the side. Spacebar also toggles it back, so this is a toggle. You can either use the plus or minus buttons at the numpad to zoom in or out, or here the drop-down box. Up to 200, and here you can see quite a little bit of a detail already. Let's go back to 100. You can add color tags to the images to make it easier to distinguish. There is a sidebar with the colors here. Can be hidden away in case it disturbs. So let's select a few images, and maybe this block here is yellow. Then these images, blue. Here we have a custom color, so you are not limited to these colors here. You can set it up with a color picker and use this color here. Let's say this here is the pink color. And as you can see, it is now much easier to distinguish which card belongs into which block. You can also select cards by right-clicking at the color. Now they are selected. And when you move such a block, then both selected images will now land here. This is why I wanted to show the colors at all, because that way you see much easier if the images really arrives where they should belong to. You can of course also remove images from the list. Remove. Here is also a big remove button. Then it is gone from the project. Then you need to drag it back if you need it again. But for that we have undo, and the images are back. Here at the bottom we have the stash, and the stash is the area for the images where you cannot decide if you want to remove it immediately. You can move it out of the project, and now they are stored here. And you can drag it back at a later point And here it is back in the project. Note that by closing the app, you will lose these images from the project. You can edit images by double-clicking, and then your connected software will open up. For me, that's GIMP. And yeah, now you can, for example, let's make it a bit bigger. Edit the image, make a red cross up, cross it here, save it, and the image will update. Note that this will, of course, modify the original image at your hard drive. So let's undo this. And here we are back. Now for some other features, you can add text to the images. For that we go to the settings and enable show notes. And then you have here an add note button, and then you can type text here. Note that this has a limit of 1000, and yeah, don't exceed, because it will then not be written. The reason is we export also not just images, but a so-called contact sheet, and this contact sheet contains the text that you write here. And yeah, this contact sheet can grow very, very big, so don't add too much text, and this is why I have introduced here the limit. The button itself just shows the title and the first line of the text. This is by propose. So when you type another text here, this is not shown in the button here. Back to some basics. You can move selections to the top or the bottom. And so that you don't need to scroll, we have here the focus selected button, and then the selection comes into view. When you select a bunch of images or a single image and start to drag, then you will see here a blue area. This is the scroll area. This is an indicator for scrolling. This is also here at the bottom. And when you reach the end of the list, then it turns gray and deactivates. And then you can scroll up. This can also be much faster. Hold Shift and then you scroll much faster. That way you can position images in the middle of when you have lots of images. This makes it much easier to position your images. This was sorting and managing. Now for the export. You can export image sequences. You can set a file name prefix, in this case image. This can be changed. And you can include a file name mapping text, then a text file with the old and new name gets exported. This can be handy sometimes. In case there is a color tag or a text applied somewhere, it will generate a file called Imagesorter data text. File name prefix image, this can change depending on what prefix you choose here. So let's export here and then let's have a look. And here we have open last export folder so that you don't need to search where it has landed. And here we have the name mapping list. This is as told the old and the new name. And this here, well, yeah, it's some kind of a project data. It contains the file name. Here we have a text for this image here. And here we have colors applied to the image. And what you can do here is when you start over and drag in the images, and then you drag back the Imagesorter data file, then you will be back at the point where you have exported the images. You can, of course, also use this text file for your further work, because here we have the image and the associated text, and this can be, as told, handy in other cases too. Now for the contact sheet export. This is a storyboard feature. I have added lorem ipsum text here to the first two images to show you what it exactly does. Export contact sheet. We have two methods here, grid or list. Let's start with the grid. Export it. You can also cancel it when it takes too long. And Let's also export a list. As you have seen in the export, you can also include and or exclude the index number, the file names, and the nodes. Now let's have a look what you have produced here. This is the grid view here. Now, this was the wrong image. I want to show the one with the lorem ipsum text. And this is the reason here why I have introduced a limit in text length. Don't write big stories here. It will blow up the images. So now for the list view. And here we have the images besides the text. This is a text contact sheet, a list contact sheet, and this is a grid contact sheet. Last but not least, you don't need to control everything by buttons. We have also hotkeys. This is here in the About dialog. The hotkeys are listed. It is more practical to open the stash, for example, with the Tab key, or to close the sidebar with the B key. That's much faster. Same goes here for the arrows, arrow button, and so on. Here you can read the hotkeys. We are through. I hope I have covered the most important points and haven't forgotten too many things. Storyboard Imagesorter is currently in beta, so in case you find a bug or have a suggestion, feel free to make a report at Github or post it here below the video. Alright, now that I have what I want, let's make some storyboards and movies. Have fun!